Another rolling protest hit the streets of Jacksonville today, but not in the debate over when to reopen business during COVID-19. Today's demonstration came after an attorney managed to become a judge without an election. On your side's Alex Osiris is taking a closer look at just how this happened.
Yeah, motorcade that stopped right in front of the courthouse, along with a protest, folks wearing their protective masks, saying they want their voices heard.
Jacksonville's NAACP, along with the Northside Coalition, calling for action. A local attorney's move to become judge with no election not sitting well.
His last-minute filing prevented anyone from getting that opportunity.
Ben Frazier talking about Michael Khalil, the successor to Circuit Judge Tyree Boyer. Initial reporting by our news partners at the Florida Times-Union show a timeline of Boyer filing a check for re-election on April 22nd. Then the morning of April 24th, Michael Khalil's qualification paperwork processed, and by 10:40 a.m., Boyer had withdrawn from the race. The On Your Side team reached out Tuesday afternoon to Khalil for comment. Our message was not immediately returned. Attorney Rhonda Peoples-Waters said that she met with Judge Boyer and Chief Judge Mahan last year. She issued a statement through her spokesperson. Quote, "Had I known Judge Boyer planned to retire, I would have considered filing to run in his seat being vacated by his retirement." Peoples-Waters is now running for a county judge position. Those protesting told the On Your Side team the last-minute maneuvering does not leave much trust in the judicial system.
It is unfortunate that we have to wage this battle.
And among those organizations called on to investigate, including the Florida Bar and Judicial Qualifications Committee, the situation still unfolding, and we'll keep you posted as things play out. Reporting, Alex Osiris, First Coast News, On Your Side.